beautiful creative friends, it's Belinda and I am absolutely thrilled to be here today sharing a video with you for Dealy D's Patreon Pals Sketch Challenge YouTube Hop. Each month on Dealy D's Patreon, she challenges her patrons to a variety of creative challenges, and I really love taking part in these each month. But today I am joining a few of her patrons as we share how each of us take on this month's August sketch challenge. So this is the sketch that she has created for us to work from. Now I am going to be using this fairly literally. I really loved the really long big title down the side, and I have already prepared the background page using my silhouette. You're probably not going to be able to see that there on camera, but you will see it once I've started backing that with some patterned papers. This is going to be one of my 2-for-1 layouts. So I will create one layout with you on camera, and then I will create an identical layout off camera and I'll share that at the end. I've got these two beautiful photos of my children asleep. Like most parents, I love to go in and check on them every night before I go to bed. And what I've got here is a quote, or it's not a quote, it's the You Are My Sunshine song, which is something that I have always sung to them before they go to sleep each night. So you can see that my photos are already printed in a circle. I have pulled out some of my circle dies and they match the size that I've printed the photos. And the collection that I'm using for these is the Rosie's Studio by Starlight collection. It is a little bit older, but I've already gone ahead and selected some pattern papers for the layout for my daughter and some pattern papers for the layout for my son. So I think that's about it for an intro. Let's hop on fast forward and see this one come together. Okay, so I've gone ahead and removed the cut file from the cutting mat, and now you can see how I have cut the lyrics for the You Are My Sunshine song out of the white cardstock, and I'm going to be using that whole piece as my background. So I did get my silhouette to cut the background for me as well. And just in the interest of full disclosure, after I went and painstakingly backed all of these lines of text and then went to mat it onto my patterned paper background, I realized that I hadn't actually set the cut file correctly and the background wasn't quite square and it wasn't quite the right size. So I did have to go off and recut this, and I think I probably recut it about 6 or 7 times to get 2 good cuts in the end, but it all worked out. So while I'm chattering away here about that background story, I am just showing you how I went about backing each of those lines. So I have backed each line with a different pattern paper, and I just adhered a strip down to the back just to make it nice and easy. And then skipping ahead, this is all backed with pattern papers now. So you can see I've used 2 different blue toned pattern papers and a gold glitter patterned paper for the bolder words. Now, I really was drawing inspiration from the sketch when I was creating that cut file title, or it actually serves as journaling as well, and I loved how the whole block of text was justified, but some lines were bolder than others, some of the lettering was bigger than others. So I drew inspiration from that and I chose to bold some of the specific words in the lyrics. So sunshine, happy, I love you, my sunshine, just I suppose taking the vibe, to quote Dennis Denudo, the vibe of the song and bolding those pieces of text. So now I'm ready to, this one's going to come together really quickly. I'm ready to create the photo cluster. So you can see there that I had already cut some circles. I used 1 pattern paper. I cut a circle from plain white cardstock, and I actually used a stitched circle die for that one to give the stitched effect sitting behind my photo. I have also cut my photo out using the circle die, and then I'm going to create the layers behind the photo. Again, I'm staying pretty close to the sketch here. So the sketch had a circular photo or a circular element and then a couple of rectangled pieces layered behind that. So I am sticking pretty close to that, but one of my pieces I'm turning into a tag because I absolutely love adding tags to layouts. I love adding the tags and the twine just for that extra bit of texture and some visual interest just that the twine adds. So I'm creating this tag myself. I have got a little tag template which I've cut out and I keep to the side of my desk, and I use that to trim the corners off the patterned paper. And then I'm creating the reinforcer piece myself. I just grabbed, I think it's a 1/2 inch circle punch, and I've punched a gold foil star patterned paper, and then I'm going to use my little We Are Memory Keepers multi-punch tool to just punch the tiny circle out of the middle of that. I have already gathered my bits and pieces that I want to use for embellishing, and the florals that you saw me show you just a little while ago. There were lots of florals in the collection, this Rosie Studio collection, but they were all a pink or a purpley tone, and as you can see I'm using more of the blue and the grey tones on this layout, so those pink and purple florals just really didn't go with the aesthetic of this particular layout. So I went through my stash of Pinkfresh Studio stamps, and this is one of their fairly recent stamp and die sets. I think this is the circle florals, and I just used a dark blue ink to stamp those. I didn't color them in at all, and then used the coordinating die to cut them out, and because they are a circular shape they are going to fit really nicely around the outside of my photo. To give that little photo layer some dimension, I've just grabbed some chipboard. I like to keep all of the chipboard that comes in packaging when I buy my scrapbooking supplies. Now that I'm trying to keep my layouts a little bit flatter than I once used to, I am trying to be mindful of how thick the foam and the dimension that I'm adding is. So these pieces of chipboard are really ideal. They're nice and sturdy and they give a little bit of lift without adding too much bulk. So for this layout of my son, I'm layering a couple of bits and pieces of ephemera rather than having just the one piece, which you'll see that's how things are slightly different in the layout that I created for my daughter, and the photos for that are coming at the end. So I've layered a couple of those little ephemera pieces. There's the tickety looking piece, and then there was another square piece which had a sentiment on it that I just didn't really see myself using, so I don't mind having that covered up. That's what I've layered there. I also grabbed one of the circles that had the star border on it, and I've cut that in half and placed one to the bottom right and one to the top left of that cluster. And I find that repeating elements in clusters just really helps to build cohesiveness across the layout and helps to just bring everything together. So here I'm doing it again. I'm repeating. I've got those circle floral die cuts or stamped die cuts pieces. I've added one to the bottom right, and I'm now tucking one in to the top left of that circle photo. And it's just a really nice soft touch to really frame that photo, because the title and the journaling there is so bold. It just does help bring the eye back down to the photo again. So in mentioning the title and the journaling, this layout isn't going to have any specific journaling. I'm hoping that when my kids do look back at this layout that it will speak for itself, because it is something that I have sung to them just about every night when I have said put them to bed. So it's hopefully one of the things that's one of their core memories, and so looking at this, just reading the lyrics of the song will be enough to remind them what this was all about. I have layered a couple of pieces there to the top right of that tag. There was this really cute little cloud die cut in a soft blue, and then I've grabbed one of the sentiment stickers. This one says My Lucky Star. I'm using my We Are punch that's got all of the little shapes. There's some hearts and stars and a couple of different shapes, so they punch out these really sweet little tiny hearts, and I'm punching those out from that gold glitter paper. And then I'm just going to scatter them in two places there, because then it sort of brings that glitter into three different spots on the layout. We've got it on the title or the journaling, and then we've got a couple of little sprinkles of the glitter paper on either side of the photo, which again helps to keep the eye moving around the page. And so once I've stuck those down, the only thing that is left for me to do is come in with some Nuvo drops. Now for the Nuvo, I've chosen one of the jewel drops, which is the translucent ones, and I'm going for a soft grey. Oh, of course, I need to add my twine there as well. So it's a soft grey translucent drop, and I'm not sure if you see me do that on camera or if that is something that I do off camera or not, but once that's done, that is it for the layout. Now, as I mentioned, there are some close-up photos coming in just a minute of this layout, and also of the layout that I made using the exact same design and the same collection, just different products, of my daughter. So make sure that you stick around to the end to see those. With that, I will leave it there for now and say thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.